first edition of Nahar Jeeto Bookathon presented in association with the Raisoni Foundation. In this session, we are going to explore the book Marketing Analytics by Pavankumar Gurazada. Analytics is taking up an increasingly larger role in a marketer's everyday decision-making. With a change in the customer's nature of buying behavior, need for marketers to understand and use technology-enhanced data collection and analysis method. Marketing Analytics for Strategic Decision-Making has been written from a marketing perspective to provide a comprehensive overview of the analytical methods that are pertinent and important for a marketer through illustrations that make use of appropriate data sets and apply software such as R, SPSS, and Excel. Designed primarily for the students of MBA specializing in marketing and written in a lucid manner, the book will also be useful for marketing professionals trying to improve their understanding of marketing analytics. Our speaker for today, Dr. Pavankumar Gurazada, is presently a senior faculty member specializing in business and AI at Great Learning, where it teaches AI/ML courses across various master programs with a PhD in applied machine learning. His research and teaching pursuits revolve around deep learning and MLOps. Dr. Gurazada also holds the role of advisor, data science, and is a board member of Constems AI, a deep tech startup dedicated to constructing computer vision systems for Industry 4.0. Over to the speaker to take the session forward.
Hello, I'm thrilled to be part of this Nahar Bookathon. I'll be speaking today about my book, Marketing Analytics, which I co-authored with Professor Motiji Meti from IIM Lucknow. Let me begin with a little bit about myself. I'm a senior faculty with Great Learning in Bangalore. I teach across many of our MBA programs, our MTech programs. I teach with our US universities as a faculty on data science. I'm also part of a computer vision deep tech startup where we build computer vision solutions for Industry 4.0. And during this course of my experience, both working in practice and also in academia, I've faced several challenges on the marketing front, which is what prompted really for us to come up with the idea of this book. Let me begin by delineating a few of the main themes of our book. To begin with, if you look around, there is a large infusion of data into marketing these days. Consumer behaviors are changing. As they are changing, we are capturing even more data about them. Now, what do we do with all of these mountains of data? That's the first challenge the real world marketer faces. And the way out is that today's marketer has to grapple with a mixture of both statistical methods as well as machine learning methods to really make sense out of all the data that's getting collected. So that was issue number one theme which we reinforced throughout many chapters in the book. The second is how do you package this into a textbook form? It's very easy to compose a series of code which tackles a specific problem, pair it to a data set, and you have an application in place. But to package this in terms of a textbook, which appeals to say an MBA graduate or for that matter any graduate level candidate, that's a difficult proposition because you have to somehow bridge this gap between the data that is collected, the methods that are getting used, and the actual practical implementation of all of this, and the implications of all of this from a business standpoint. So that was a very difficult challenge. We found really very little material that tackles this challenge. During the writing process, there were a few challenges that we encountered. Given the diversity of this field, given the number of tools and techniques that get used, you could write literally a 2,000-3,000 page book just covering everything under the sun. So that was a tough challenge that we had to navigate. We had to pick specific topics, specific things that we thought are important for the audience. And here is where my practice perspective also helped, because being a practicing marketer for quite a long time, over 12 years, there is this from the trenches approach that I think I contributed back to the book as well. With those main themes, which is like data-driven marketing at its heart, still retaining a textbook flavor, not coming off as sort of a tutorial, and finally ensuring that there's a coverage of the plethora of tools. Let me deep dive into a few of the unique points that we think that this book has. The first is that it deals with data types beyond tabular data. Historically, we've been, since the revolution of relational databases in the 1960s, analysis, analytics, and model building has focused a lot more on tabular data, which is data that is arranged in rows and columns. But we no longer have that as the only data type that a marketer has to deal with today. This means that newer methods and also newer data capturing techniques need to be figured out. So one unique aspect of the book is that it goes deep into how do you deal with these different types of data. For instance, there's a whole chapter dedicated to how do you tackle text. Like, text is one of the most important kinds of data that a marketer collects, be it product reviews, be it feedback from focus groups, or be it detailed technical documents. All of these are text, and how do they actually get collected and processed? That's a very important, unique aspect that we incorporated into the book. The second is that real life marketers also tend to do quite a lot of experiments. Say you're trying to understand which variant of the ad that you're trying to run is doing better, right? And that's an experiment that needs to be analyzed carefully. And there's a lot of material in the book that directly deals with this approach, the science way of deciding which option in front of the business is more viable. Not only is this experimentation confined to designing real life experiments, we also show how simulations could be used to simulate complex business processes. Otherwise, those would take a lot of effort and money to test things out. How do you create through pieces of code these laboratory frameworks which simulate real world organizational processes? So that's also a unique aspect of the book. Finally, one more very unique data structure that marketing data has is that of social networks. If you run communities around your brands or products, you know that consumers are themselves connected to each other apart from being your consumers. And we've included material on analyzing such kind of data, which is very, very different from, say, tabular data. So that's one very big focus in the book, which is exposure for students to data types beyond tabular data, be it images, be it social network data, or be it the ability to design complex systems and then analyze data for them. Having said that, which is non-traditional types of data, which is a big part of the book, we also do cover the traditional data analysis as well. For instance, in marketing, clustering customers into groups, whether they are your buying paid customers or prospective customers, is a huge thing. That also has an important place in the book. We have, for instance, when you're trying to launch a product, you need to understand which features are ranked high. Understanding preference data, that also has a very, very important place in analysis of marketing data, and that again has an important place in the book. Understanding survey data, for instance, surveys are bread and butter, part of everyday life for a marketer. We have chapters devoted to carefully analyzing survey data as well. So in this way, we've tried to strike a balance between the traditional way of doing marketing analytics, which is using surveys and other methods to collect customer data, run small scale experiments for decision making, and pair it up with newer methods of data collection, which is collecting text, collecting social network connections, collecting simulation experiments data, and pairing all of these kinds of data up with different methods of analyzing these data. So this is sort of a unique perspective that we think we bring to the table. Apart from this type of unstructured data, which is, say, for example, text, we also dedicate a couple of chapters on the upcoming methods of analyzing specifically text and images. Text and images are a core part of the data that a marketer collects, and you need methods to analyze these, and these typically fall outside the realm of usual marketing analytics practice. Because we focus a lot more on statistical methods, and analyzing these types of data focuses a lot more on machine learning methods such as deep learning, and this is one of the few books which covers these topics in some depth. We have a couple of chapters that look at this in closer detail, at least giving the participants a flavor, giving the students a flavor of these methods and why they work so effectively. So that's one more section of the book which we've written with a view to the future. And while we are doing this, like I mentioned earlier, we have to grapple with nearly endless selection of tools. There are many tools, free and paid, that are available for the marketer to do their analytics, but that's not all, right? So we've made a careful choice to include code using R, uh, code using SPSS, so covering both traditional tools for data analysis um, as well as more modern methods of using programming languages. We also have some Excel-based chapters so that not every analysis problem needs to have a solution which is either a programming language or a tool like SPSS. So that's also included. So overall, if I look at the main building blocks of this book, there's one aspect which deals with traditional data that marketers collect, traditional methods that analyze this data. There is chapters devoted to newer kinds of data that marketer has to deal with and methods that deal with analyzing such data. We also have a view to the future, which is with methods borrowed from AI and machine learning. How do you tackle unstructured data such as text and images? In summary, here's why we think this is a unique book, and we are so thrilled to be speaking about this book at this bookathon. Is that consumer behavior is changing, and that's adding a lot of nuance to the kind of data we collect. Data collection is becoming more and more tech enhanced, which means the methods that we used to have to analyze data traditionally no longer work. They need to be augmented with newer methods. And here is where we think that our book equips readers with such methods. These methods are chosen carefully based on our own experience of dealing with many such problems in real life and also speaking to a host of practitioners. These discussions which we had, in fact, form a core part of the chapters, either as case studies or as opening notes. Um, we've taken care to take examples that mirror real life and practice. We've taken care that data sets are also in the flavor of what the reader would encounter in the real world. In effect, there's enough in the book, both in terms of the methods and the content, to equip the reader to tackle modern marketing data challenges. And not only do we delineate several of these challenges, we also present effective methods to deal with these challenges. And I hope that the readers of this book have take away a lot of learning and apply it to improve their own practice. Thank you very much.